Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. The big cat is back for one more Titanic review, 200-mile update on the Puma MagMax. Now, if you are looking for an iconic shoe like the MagMax, or maybe you're just looking for a standard shoe, make sure to check out the Supwell app. Supwell app is my app. It's the best hobby jogger community out there. It's also the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace. You can get shoes like the MagMax for well under retail because people are posting them. And you can also trade. So if you have something like an Alpha Fly 3 that doesn't fit you or doesn't work out and you've put a run on it, then you could say, hey, I'm looking for a max cushion shoe and I'd like to trade the Alpha Fly. So you can set up deals with people. It's also the best community of people getting after it daily. All right, enjoy today's video. Bang! Look at this, another perfect spring morning in Mint Hill. It honestly does not get better than this April in the Carolinas. I think it's the best month of the year in the Carolinas. You get the blue skies, you get the 65 to 75 degree American weather, the mosquitoes aren't too bad. The grass is green, you got the fescue popping off, the lawnmowers going. What could be better? Definitely a top 5 underrated state month combination. Right up there with Massachusetts in October, or going to Maine. This is another one. Maine in July. That is super underrated because it's the furthest north on the East Coast, so you escape the heat, and the lakes are perfect. The lakes, quarries, perfect to swim on. Best place to be. So this is my top 3 right here, state month combinations. Carolina, North Carolina in April. September in Massachusetts. No, October in Massachusetts. And then July in Maine. Anyway, we've got the Puma MagMax here. It's finally time. It is time to do the 200-mile review and update. This is sitting at 184 miles right now, so that means I have to get 16 miles on it today. And it's funny because I used to do all of these 20-mile double days, 22-mile double days. I've even done 24, 27-mile double days. I haven't been doing that a lot recently. I've been clipping off consistent 14 to 16-mile days, stacking mileage, trying to recover from big monster workouts like I did yesterday. Yesterday's workout was 20-mile long run with 7 miles at marathon pace and 4 miles at, 4 miles at half marathon pace or faster. So that was a really good session right there, alternating a mile at marathon pace with a half a mile at half marathon pace. And these workouts, the type of workouts that I've been doing to increase my fitness have been really taking it out of me. I'll talk about my training at some other point. But today is nice, relaxed mileage. I'm not doing a lot of super high mileage training right now, but that's what I've loved for the MagMax. Anytime where I'm getting out here, hitting an hour, 90 minutes, even 2 hours, this thing has been such a comfortable and supportive beast. And I've also flexed it to its extremes, its maximum limits. I've done a threshold workout in it. Last training block in October, I did 3 by 1 mile at 5:40 pace, which is the current marathon pace that I'm training for right now. And then I also took it to a 23-mile long run, just showing that it's comfortable for doing those long miles on feet. So I've absolutely loved this thing. This is my highest mileage training shoe of the past year. It's actually this and the Alpha Fly. You get a thick stack of this foam, and this is the interesting thing with this shoe versus a lot of the other shoes that it's competing against. Superblast, Glycerin Max, Endorphin Trainer. Yes, the Endorphin Trainer. By the way, someone on Instagram thought I was being satirical for saying that I like the Endorphin Trainer. Instagram is a crazy place, man. People over there take themselves super seriously, and they don't really have a sense of humor. So we're growing over there, but the jokes just don't connect in the same way. So I appreciate you, YouTube audience, for having a sense of humor. But compared to all the other shoes that this goes up against, like I was saying, Glizzy Max, Endorphin Trainer, Superblast 2, this has a way simpler construction. There's no plate, and there's no dual foam. You just get one thick slab of this nitro foam. And that gives this a really guilt-free quality to it and guilt-free aspect. I think that's why people like the Superblast as well. It's not necessarily the most explosively bouncy ride, but it gives you a lot of what other shoes that typically have plates do. And so we still have this idea in the back of our minds that running in a plated shoe all the time is bad. It's not that running in a plated shoe all the time is bad and running in a non-plated shoe is good. It's good to differ the stress on your body, but this is a shoe where you get a lot of the foam without needing the stability of the plate. And also just the fact that it doesn't have the plate gives it more of a normal training feel ride. So you get a tall bed of this foam here. We can throw it through the lab later. You get a nice wide base on the bottom here, and then you get the Puma grip. That's the other thing that's really special about this shoe. Puma and Adidas have the best two rubbers. This might be the best. I think I did a head-to-head DV8 Nitro 2 versus Boston 12, and the Puma grip came out on top. But in the DV8 Nitro 2, that also had little rubber nubs. That might be the most versatile shoe of all time. It was almost a trail lug outsole. But you could see after 184 miles, worn down this outsole in the back pretty good from heel striking. You can see some scuffage, but it's not burnt through yet. That's on the left side. Let's take a look at the right side. Same thing. So durable tank. And then upper, it also is not too bad in terms of the width here. I know some people have issues with these Pumas, but I found the MagMax and the DV8 Nitro Elite 3 to be okay. So let's go get some miles in it, and then we can put it through the lab and do all the comparisons. This is a fun one. Man, the lawnmowers are really going out here this morning. I think the worst part about this shoe, the one I have, is the colorway. They have a lot of good colorways. They have a new monochromatic red. They have a monochromatic silver. All the monochrome ones are fire. They have a white that looks really good. This one was just not it. But it did make it look different than all their other shoes because they had the sunset pack. That was their main colorway on everything else. So this one went into the other direction. But lacing it up here. So yesterday I was in the Primex Strung OG. And what's funny is that this is a shoe that has just as much stack or nearly as much stack out of the box as the Primex Strung, but it's completely on the other side. It's opposite of that shoe. This one is wide, stable, designed for chewing through daily miles. The Primex Strung, double-plated, true race foam, that one is designed for ripping. It's designed to be the best version of what a race shoe can do. But like the Primex Strung, the extra foam in here is giving you something more. It's giving you more protection, and it's giving you more bounce while still offering a relatively standard daily training experience. And that's the difference between this and everything else. It reminds me a lot of one of my favorite daily trainers of the past few years, Vomero 17, and that it has that simple ride, nice bounce, and I'm not always thinking about it on my foot. Also, like the Vomero 17, it does have a slightly higher drop feel, so that is something to note. It's not a 10 millimeter drop, it's an 8. But a lot of the other shoes in this category, other than the Superblast, are down at 5 or 6 millimeter drops. See how bad the damage is this morning on my legs. These long run workouts have just been slaughtering me. But as they say, you want to be a boss, you got to pay the price. Man, it is warming up out here. It is 70s, sunny,
started my run later this morning. It's getting humid. That was mile 1, 7:58. Yeah, looking like this is gonna be recovery zone. Legs are feeling tired. And I'm feeling tired. I did not get good sleep last night. It's one of those nights where I just kept waking up. I was up at 1:30 and the birds were going. I didn't realize that was a thing. And then it was just making me think, man, if the birds are up, it's already morning. And then I was just getting in my head about how I'm not going to get sleep. And it's already morning, even though it's only 1. This is a tough sitch, as they say. Mile 2, 7:51. Man, I'm feeling it this morning. This is one of those runs. Just want to be on the other side. Yeah, the bounce and protection here are just unmatched. Those two things, that's where it spikes. Bounce, protection, and then ease of use. Such an easy shoe to run in. And I really do notice a difference right around that 7:45 tipping point, maybe 7:50. Is where it's best for me. Anything below 7:50 to 6:10, but it's not bad for recovery, and I still am getting some bounce, but the magic happens slightly faster than my recovery pace. Man, I've seen multiple smashed up copperheads out here in the past few days. I guess spring is snake season. Gotta keep that grass cut. Sometimes with these structured workouts, I don't realize how much intensity I'm getting. So I just made that workout up yesterday to do some faster running. And I'm realizing I got 4 miles in at a pace faster than my current 5K PR. Well, that's a 20-mile long run plus the intensity of a 5K PR on the legs. And that's the entire purpose of doing structured training, interval workouts, any workout where you're doing repetitions or taking rest between sets. It's so that you can increase the volume that you'd be able to do otherwise. Because I would not be able to run 4 miles straight at faster than my 5K PR, because that's literally impossible. Or even 2 by 2 miles at that pace, likely not. But breaking it up into 800s over the course of 10 miles within a longer run, that makes it possible. But then, of course, we still need the recovery. It's one of those things where I feel like it's easier on the body during the workout, but then the recovery is tougher because we're doing more than we're capable of. That's the entire point of repetitions, being able to do more than we're capable of. And that's not to say we should be hammering or overtraining, but functional overreaching. If we're only doing tempo style workouts, we're not going to be able to overreach in the same way, especially at the faster than half marathon pace. And that's really my weakness right now. Charlie and I went into Uptown, which is what they call downtown here in Charlotte. It makes no sense, I guess, because it's north of where a lot of people live. But we went into Uptown for date night Friday. Saw the Knights baseball game. It's a Chicago White Sox minor league team. Really good game. They won, bottom of the ninth. But I swear, the air is different. We came back here, I had the top off the Jeep, and as soon as we roll into the neighborhood, it's like I can breathe deeper. Can see the stars and everything out here. In the city, you can't. Mint Hill air. It's good for the soul. So I'm plodding along here slowly today, and it always gets to a point with this shoe, no matter how slow I'm going, where it just feels like I could keep going forever and ever and ever. And I just hit that point an hour in. This is the best high mileage shoe. And as I was saying earlier, sometimes I don't feel that I'm activating it at these slower paces until I get to this point in the run. Same thing I used to say about the Nova Blast 4. And it's the reverse with the Vomero 18. That one feels nice and bouncy, good pep until an hour in. This one, it feels good, but once we get deeper into the run, oh man, it's just a leg saver. It really is special. That is the magic right there. And that's exactly what makes this the best marathon training, high mileage, everyday shoe. Longevity is here. So no breakdown right now because it's gonna be loud, but look at that. Oh man. Oh man, you'd love to see that.
Yeah, they're going complete ham over there. Supple podcast studio coming soon, but for now, we're getting it in outside. Let's go get some miles in. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just being a kid who grew up in a city, but having a perfectly manicured lawn just makes me so happy. And they're out here putting in the work. All right. 10 miles, 8:04 pace. Oh man, 1 hour, 20 minutes, 49 seconds. Man, that was low and slow, but I'm learning if I'm running this slow, if I'm running slower than 8, that means I had a fitness building workout. It's a good barometer. If I'm able to run my recovery runs faster, that means I'm not pushing myself. And here's the whole thing with... Okay, let's go inside. People always talk about zone 2 training, right? And keeping your heart rate low. Wow, I can even hear I'm just going in here. Holy cow. But yeah, people talk about the low heart rate training, zone 2, and also just not running your relaxed everyday miles too fast. I've learned it is really hard for me to run my everyday miles too fast consistently. If you're able to get out there and hammer your everyday miles, that means you could probably increase your mileage or increase the intensity of your workouts. Because when I'm training appropriately, the everyday miles are going to be right where they need to go. Low and slow, nice and relaxed, so I can get out there and hammer again. And the other thing I need to do to get out there and hammer again is refuel. I don't think my refuel or fuel yesterday was that good. What do we have here? Some leftover oatmeal. All right, I'm going to have that. We also have, look at this. We didn't cover it yesterday. That's kind of gross. It's just been sitting here. Is it going to be, you know what? Let me see. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. Let's see if this is still fire. Fire. It doesn't even taste like the fridge. All right, I'm going to shower and then real refill. Should I get another pair? Should I get a backup pair? The thing is, oh gosh. Is that part of a deceased snake right there? Oh, and I can just still feel the bounce. But yeah, should I get a backup pair? Or not even a backup, a second pair. I did for the Alpha Fly, but the thing with the Alpha Fly is that's a race shoe, or the way I use it, a long run marathon training shoe. Absolutely love it for that. And so I wanted the pop that comes with a fresh pair of Alpha Fly. With this, there's not really any reason to get another pair other than I want to try one of the other colorways. I don't think I'm going to do it. But it really just goes to show this is such a durable tank. I haven't seen anybody actually retire one of these yet. I've seen lots of high mileage reviews and testing, but I don't think I've seen anybody successfully kill a pair of the MagMax. If you know somebody who's successfully killed a pair of the MagMax, let me know. Tell me why. And I'm not talking about the upper stretching out. My friend Jared said the upper stretched out for him, but the midsole was still going strong. And I think for a lot of us hobby joggers out there, especially the shoe sickos on the Supwell app, we're gonna get tired of a shoe before it actually loses its performance. This thing here, man, it is still rock solid at 200 miles. And the standard average mileage that a lot of us shoot for is 300. If you want to be a hero, you could go to 500. I retired, before I did this, I started retiring most of my shoes at 300. I took an Adidas Ultra Boost up to 700 miles, but I could feel my knees and everything was just off every time I used to run that shoe, and I had no idea why at the time. And then Charlie got a new pair of shoes for me for Christmas that year, actually a pair of On Cloud Stratus 2, one of the most underrated shoes out there. The 2, I haven't tried the 3, but really solid daily trainer. And immediately all those pains that I was having went away from getting a fresh pair of shoes. So I retire most things at 300, especially with a lot of the softer foams like the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. Those really only felt good for me up to around 250, 270, not the most durable, but most modern shoes will make it to at least 300. But yeah, this thing is a complete tank, showing no signs of fading at all at 200 miles. If anything, it's just getting better. It's like putting on a perfectly broken in pair of jeans or a big chunky hoodie that you love putting on every September, lighting a candle at night, throwing on Sunday Night Football, sinking down into the couch, having a big non-alcoholic glass of beer. That's what this thing is. It's a homey, comfortable, big old cushioned, relaxed mileage cruiser. So let's throw up today's run. The majority of mileage I've gotten in this shoe has been exactly like this morning. So if you look at these splits here, just about an 8 flat pace. I was out there for 10 miles, which translated into an hour, 20 minutes. And for most people, that is a long run distance. Most people are doing 40-minute long runs. If they're doing a long run on the weekend, it's going to be 40 minutes, 45 minutes to 90 minutes. Not everyone's doing 2.5 hour, 3-hour long runs. I have not done a 3-hour long run in a while. I probably should. The point being here, for longer mileage, for increasing mileage, for getting out here for an hour plus, this is, I don't want to throw superlatives on everything, but this is a superlative shoe. This is maybe the best long run or relaxed mileage, higher mileage training style of shoe. It's so easy to run. It is so consistent and reliable. It feels the same every time. The bounce isn't going away, and the more miles I put in it, the better it's feeling. And here's the thing, out of the box, it actually didn't feel that great. It felt maybe too heavy or too clunky. The foam just didn't have the bounce that I wanted, but as I put more miles in it, it started to feel more normal. So that's the special quality of this. Because it doesn't have the plate, because it doesn't have dual foam, it's not going to feel that radical, but as you get deeper into the run, as you get an hour into the run, 90 minutes into the run, the magic and the special quality starts shining. Very similar to the Adidas OG Prime X Strung from yesterday, where I didn't say this in the video, but 2 miles in, just doing the warm-up, I was thinking, man, this doesn't feel that great. This almost feels too tall. Even first rep at marathon pace there, I didn't feel that it was anything special. But as I got deeper into the run, the bounce, the consistency, and having that higher stack foam over time, keep that performance is key. And I really do think a lot of these slightly firmer, which this is, higher stack foam, the secret sauce is going to be they don't tire. They feel resilient. And that's the difference between a top tier foam like what's in here or what's in the Light Strike Pro and a standard training foam like the Nike React X. In the Vomero, that React X just gets so tired. After an hour of running, it loses the bounce. It loses what they want to call energy return. It doesn't help me fight back. This has that fight back quality to it where, man, I know if I'm going 2 hours, I'm going to feel supported, protected, and have a good time in this for the entire run. And even though, I've said this a few times, even though at some paces it doesn't feel like I'm putting enough mustard into the shoe, it's not like it's punishing me at the relaxed paces either, because there are some shoes like the Skyward X, for example, where I feel like I just cannot run slow. With this, I can still run slow like I did this morning, and it's not punishing me. And especially if it's a low and slow long run for this, the benefit of the additional foam and bounce and ease of turning over the legs as we get deeper into the run outweighs any of the first 30 minutes maybe of feeling too heavy. But this is one of those shoes. I got to come up with a name for these shoes. It's the shoes that they're really only good if you're going 45 minutes. I gotta workshop it. Maybe are they the casserole shoes, the lasagna shoes? I don't know. You have to bake them in the oven. You have to go out here, be putting in the mileage for it to get the benefit. If you're just doing 30-minute runs, 20-minute runs, you're not going to get the biggest benefit out of this. So it is specialized in that way. Yes, it's a max stack shoe. Yes, it's supposed to be this versatile shoe with the race foam. You can go slow, you can go fast, but it really does work best if you're doing higher mileage and longer runs. If you're doing 20 to 30-minute runs, it will still be fun, but it's just not the optimal shoe for that. I would rather get something like the Nova Blast or even maybe the Glycerin Max if you want max stack. This one is special once you get past an hour. So because it's the 200-mile review here, and we still have to run the last, gosh dang, 6 miles to get up to 200 this afternoon, but let's go through the 3 questions that I always answer. I do this in the first run review, but let's do it now. So first, how does this do versus its intended purpose? Now, I'm going to reframe this question because when this came out, we weren't quite sure what the intended purpose of it was, and this marked a turning point in the running shoe development. And someone flippantly on Instagram asked me, or just commented, when did 40 millimeters become moderate drop? Because somebody said the Evo SL, or moderate stack. Somebody said the Evo SL was a moderate stack shoe. And I, in turn, flippantly responded from the Supwell brand account. I said August 2024. That's when 40 millimeters became moderate stack. And that's when this thing came out. And I was half joking, half not joking. Last year was the year where 40 millimeters is no longer the max cushion gang. You have to have 43, 44, 45 on the sample size factory to be a true max cushion shoe. The New Balance 1080 V13, V14, any of these shoes which are measuring in 38 to 40, even something like the Asics Gel Cumulus, those are not max cushion shoes anymore. Those are the moderate center of the market shoes, and then the lower stack shoes are 35 and below. If I see anything 35 in the heel on paper out of the box, that is a low stack shoe compared to the market. Now, I'm not comparing it to 2014, and I've said this a ton of times, but in 2014, I was not running. I was not doing any mileage. The only mileage, never mind. Point being, this marked a shift in training shoes, and like the Superblast and some of these other hype shoes to come before it, and this didn't get the hype from itself. I think the hobby jogger community helped drive the hype machine for this one here. But it changed what is considered normal. It normalized the higher stack in the training shoes, and it reset the bar for what max cushion could be. So coming back to the New Balance More V5 a few weeks ago, that no longer felt like a max cushion shoe, because we now expect the bounce. We now expect some fun and excitement and some sort of race foam or race foam similar feeling. I think this is the last generation of Puma race foam, but that's what we expect out of the max cushion shoes. It's crazy. So this is the one that really changed it. So intended purpose of this here, to deliver that fun and comfort over the long miles. And with some of these shoes that have the higher stack or have the higher weight, the Skyward X, for example, they're hard to classify, but this is a daily trainer for higher mileage training that you can also do long runs in. If I'm not going to be doing a workout in a long run, this is one of the best shoes out there. So question number 2, how does it compare to its competitors? Now, Superblast would be the main competitor, Skyward X would be the main competitor, and Glycerin Max. Those are really top 3, plus Endorphin Trainer and Cloud Monster Hyper. So versus the Glycerin Max, this is more versatile. Glycerin Max to me always feels like much more of a relaxed shoe. And then versus Superblast, this is more comfortable. This is the Goldilocks Super Max Stack Max Cushion Gang shoe. This is the one that's gonna work best for most people. This is the one that feels the most normal. This is the one that feels the most reliable. I've had very few people tell me they hate the shoe. The main critique I get is people 1 run in, 2 runs in, a few runs in, saying that it's not as great as they thought it was. It takes some time to break in. I've had very few people say they hate the ride of it or anything like that. It's more so, oh, it's so hyped up. Why doesn't it feel amazing? It does take some time. And again, you have to be going an hour 10, 90 minutes to get the biggest benefit. So give it some time to break in, and then it's going to be a banger. Much more comfortable than the Superblast, much smoother than the Superblast. It is heavier than the Superblast. So if you really love the lightweight of the Superblast, you're not going to want this, but it's just as heavy as the Glycerin Max, even lighter than the Glycerin Max and the Skyward X. And then the main shoe I would compare it to is the Saucony Endorphin Trainer. That's a really fun one. If you liked this, Endorphin Trainer could be a cool replacement. That one is special because of the top layer of foam. That Incrediron foam is the best new foam on the market. So 2 great shoes, MagMax, and this is the one I'd get. If you're deciding between the 2 and you haven't tried this yet, I would just get this, but then Endorphin Trainer could be a fun replacement. Now, compared to everything else on the market, what you're getting here for $180, it's the additional capability for the long runs. Again, compared to the Vomero, if you're doing 20 to 40 minute runs, Vomero is great. Somebody actually asked me yesterday, they were in the OG Cloud Monster. They wanted a replacement for 5K to 10K runs. They said, I'm doing a 5K to 10K long run on the weekend. What should I get? And I said, dude, get the Vomero. It's literally perfect for that. If you're going to run a few times a week, if you're running, for most people, 5K to 10K, that's going to take you up 30 minutes to an hour. Bada boom, bada bang. You don't need to spend a ton of money. That's going to be reliable. It looks good and it feels good. This one, you get the biggest benefit when you're going long. So if you want the high mileage daily trainer, this is worth it. It's worth it to pay the additional $15 over the Nimbus. If you want that additional versatility, the Nimbus is specialized for comfort. This is going to be more specialized for bounce. It's worth it to pay the $30 over the Vomero if you're going to be doing a lot of longer mileage. So there you go, 194 miles. We'll do the last few miles of running here this afternoon to close it out, but Puma MagMax, still an absolute banger. Refuel time. So I'm super hungry. I think it might be emergency pasta day. Let's see. Oh gosh, I just broke the freezer. Yeah, I'm gonna make some vegan Alfredo here. It's gonna be fire. Got the spaghetti, the water's going, some peas, and then some vegan chicken in the oven. And of course I have the coffee water going. Oh, let me show you what I'm sipping today. I think I'm gonna go, no, I'm not gonna go full funk this afternoon. I'm gonna go classic. New School blend. This is a banger from Black and White. Fruity and clean, a collision of worlds. Paying respect to classics while embracing innovation. This one a banger. All right, bang, this is the Refuel. I used to call it emergency lunch, but now I'm gonna call it boy lunch. This is boy lunch. It is the Ratchet vegan ravioli. We have plain spaghetti with chopped up vegan chicken nuggets. And what else? Peas. Did I say ravioli? I'm really hungry. I meant Alfredo. Ratchet vegan Alfredo. Ratchet vegan ravioli would be super good too. I could go for some ravioli. But yeah, in the sauce, I did oat milk, miso, salt and pepper, and then some of the pasta water to give it that thickness and Max Cushion Gang consistency. And I have a meeting in 3 minutes, so I'm not even going to be able to eat. And then I have to go double. All right, I'll see you. Alrighty, we are back in the lab here, and look at this fresh new scale. My guy Tony Brinkman, he sent me this, and look at that. You can see the numbers and everything. Oh, it's like, when it's this way, it's harder to see it. When it's straight on, it's easier to see it. We'll see if we can get our angle correct on this thing. I think it's an improvement from the last one. Anyway, wanted to get some final lab measurements here of the MagMax now that it's up at 200 miles. So 315 grams. Let's see. Oh, there you go. That's the angle right there. Look at that. I just need to figure out how to get the proper camera stand for this. But yeah, 315 grams. I'll just hold it. If we compare it to some standard daily trainers here, NovaBlast 5 up at 100 miles. This thing is 270 grams, so significantly heavier than a standard daily trainer. But again, that extra weight is going to pay off once you get past an hour. If there's anything to remember about this shoe, it is king for going past an hour, and none of the specs, none of these lab measurements matter at all. Once you get past that hour, that's when the magic happens. Same thing can't be said for the NovaBlast 5. It's almost... The standard daily trainer is the reverse of that, and the NovaBlast 5 is a really good one, but for most of these standard shoes, you can take them to an hour, but they're not going to give you much more beyond that. Now, comparing it to one of the titans in this category, 332 grams in the Glizzy Max. This is more of a comfort-oriented shoe. Another banger, I have this at 100 miles, but the reason why the MagMax became the 200-mile shoe is just because it feels so normal and easy to run in. The Glizzy Max is a true recovery shoe for me. MagMax has more range and is better for those daily miles. But all right, let's do one final Stackerator test. What do you think? Should we do the Stackerator? Let's do the Stackerator. So one thing I have not talked about yet with the MagMax is the stability. It is a very stable shoe, and that comes from the wide base. So not only are we going to get a lot of foam underfoot, and it's compressed after 200 miles here, we'll see how much it's compressed, but we get a lot of width, and I'll show you in a second. So left shoe of the MagMax, 200 miles in, or technically 194 miles in, 39.2. So on paper, from the factory, this is 44, 45, right in that range. I actually didn't have this Stackerator stack check set up when I first got it, so I never did a new test. But I'm going to guess it was around 43, 44. So we have seen some compression here. Again, that's just a guess based on the stack measurements that we get from Running Warehouse. And Running Warehouse does independent testing as well, so that's another good place to look for the measurements. And look at that, 38.8 on the right side. So held up decently well. It definitely does not feel like a low shoe. And if you compare that to the Asics NovaBlast 5, this thing compressed just as much, 5 millimeters or more, over half the number of miles as the MagMax. So more compression, just straight from the foam. It would actually be a higher percentage compression in the NovaBlast 5 versus the MagMax. So that is telling me this thing has amazing durability. Also the feel of it, amazing durability. It does not feel like it's losing any of that special quality. And then if we look at the width here, NovaBlast 5 is a decently wide shoe itself. This comes in at 97 millimeters wide, or 96 in the back. But MagMax, monster, 106 millimeters wide. So that's where the stability is coming in. And then the other notable aspect is the wrapping of the sidewalls. That creates a supportive frame for overpronation as well. And if you measure this outside here, 58 millimeters. So you're getting 20, or is that 20? Can't do math this morning. Yeah, you're getting 20 additional millimeters here, just cradling the foot, creating that super supportive, stable platform, which makes this an awesome option. Again, for higher mileage training, maybe you want some stability here and there. Or maybe you're an overpronator and you're looking for a decently supportive shoe. This is a great pick. Right up there with the Superblast 2, but of course I prefer this ride. I'm going to finish my lunch so that we can close it out with the last 6 miles in the MagMax. Ooh, my love for you is true. Run number 2. Run number 2. My love for you is true. So true. Run number 2. See, this is my test. This is my test. You want to hear my test? If I have the energy to sing a ditty on the second run, that means the refuel was successful. If I'm coming out here and saying I'm not going to sing today, that means I missed or messed up the refuel. But I had a gigantic bowl of pasta. I might have some heaviness in the stomach, but that's okay. We will deal with that. At least I'm not going to be underfueled. But let me tell you about something I've been thinking about here. The whole concept of an approval rating for running shoes, and also the emotional aspect that people have. So the MagMax is a very unemotional shoe. It's not like the Superblast. The Superblast is the Donald Trump of running shoes. And even just hearing me say that, I know some people, you probably had it's like a jump scare that I would even say that word, those two words together, Donald Trump. Superblast 2 is the Donald Trump of running shoes. But that's really how it makes people feel. It's one of those things, man. Some people love him. Some people, the opposite of love him. And that's with the Superblast. This is the thing about the Superblast. Nobody has a neutral reaction to it. But look at these. These are OOFOS slides right here, right? Nobody really has an emotional connection to these things either. People buy slides, but OOFOS versus Hoka, who cares? For some reason, there's certain shoes like the Superblast and Nike as a brand that just, it gives people this guttural caveman-like response, like hearing a politician's name. The MagMax doesn't do that. This is a very high approval rating shoe and a low heat shoe. There's not a lot of debate and angry discourse around it. So I just think that's interesting. What are the top 5 most, what would you even call it? Emotional? What would you call this category of shoes? Superblast 2, Alpha Fly 3. There are these shoes that have this cult of just energy. You can't think of the shoe or talk about it without someone having a severe emotional reaction. And that's my thought starter for today. What should we call those shoes, and what are the best ones in that category, or top ones? All right, let's get out of here. I think on shoes have a similar guttural. People have this emotional connection to it because it's a class thing too. I think with On, it's more, the Superblast is an expensive shoe. It's not so much about class or price. With the On, it's, oh, this person wears On, so they're coming across as this type of individual. You can typecast them. Food for thought, or should I say, food for mileage. Thank you, Base God. That was extremely rare. Very rare. doesn't happen a lot situation where my second run of the day was stronger than my first. And not necessarily just the pace, but I felt so much better. And that just goes to show the power of fueling. So 6 miles, 3,700, 738 pace. Yeah, it's hotter out here. It's humid. Theoretically, I should have been more tired, but I told you my sleep last night was trash, which also factored into how I was feeling this morning. But I really think it was the fueling. I was in bed last night at around 11:30, and I could just feel my stomach burning from hunger. But there's sometimes where it's just a lot of effort to get out of bed and make a snack. Usually I will not let that go on, but that was why this morning's run was tough. And then had that gigantic bowl of boy lunch pasta, and we're back outside getting after it. But yeah, I'm glad we ended on that run for this thing, because it was the perfect run for the MagMax. It was right in that zone. I told you that 745 to 750, anything faster than that is where this starts feeling good. And man, it was just perfect. I was getting that bounce. I was getting that pop. That's the zone of genius for this. For me, it has to be faster than 750. When I'm running with some sort of strength, that's when I can really maximize this platform. And then the other thing about it was coming back for the second run of the day, it felt even softer and bouncier. So again, a shoe that takes some break-in in some time. And this rocker is just so good. Yeah, it's not flashy out of the box. It's not going to scream in your face. I was thinking about this too. If the Asics Superblast 2 is Donald Trump, the MagMax is the senior senator from Ohio. It's not going to make a viral speech that blows up on Twitter. But you know what? That senior senator from Ohio, and I can picture them in my head right now. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, a Democrat or a Republican, but I just picture this reliable person with a blazer on, who I know America can count on. And they're probably in the back room cutting a deal right now, just negotiating with someone in the 11th hour when we need them. Probably stop the government from shutting down. That's what I think about when I think about the senior senator from Ohio. That's what this thing is. It's the reliable shoe that you can just count on. And I really hope the senior senator from Ohio is not some problematic person. And I just went on this long spiel about it. This is a theoretical senator, not the actual senator. Yeah, that's all we have for today, man. 200-mile review of the MagMax. This is a complete banger. If you want a cushioned, comfortable, reliable, bouncy training shoe for the marathon or half marathon or increasing mileage, this is the best pick on the market. One of the only shoes I've gotten past 150, 160 miles in the past year or so. The only shoe I've gotten up to 200. I always say I vote with my miles, and I voted this one to the top spot. And the last thing I did want to say, big shout out to our friend Andrew, midlife runner, who ran sub 3 at Boston today. He's been grinding for that one for years. He actually ran a sub 3 during training, which is beast too, but he did it in Boston on that tough hilly course. His first sub 3 just goes to show when you get after it consistently, you make gains, even if it takes a few shots. So shout out to Andrew putting in work. He's been a big supporter since dang near day one of this channel. He found it early on and has always been supporting me. So shout out to Andrew. You can see him around the Supwell app. Give him a congrats. People are already posting on the Supwell app to congratulate him. Well earned and well deserved. Midlife putting in work. All right, I'll be back tomorrow with another video.